tells them, you're going to see a man just carrying a pitcher of water. Just follow him. Now, don't underestimate the importance of the mundane, the simple. The daily grind of life, you don't realize what God might be doing to set the stage for his will to be discharged through your daily experience. This man had no idea that he was preparing the place and preparing the room where the disciples would meet with the Christ and observe the Passover. But in doing what he was supposed to do on a daily basis, just simply being responsible. Responsible to the daily responsibilities that we have to get up and to fix ourselves up and to make ourselves ready and to go to work or to go to where our responsibility is and to try to do what we're supposed to do that day, to be responsible. It will put us in a place where we need to be, and unknowing to us, we are doing some things. We are arranging some things and preparing the way and getting the room ready for the master to show up and do something grand. To show up to do something grand. So just by doing his daily responsibility, he prepared the upper room for the master's final Passover. And here the master would institute something that would be perpetuated until the Lord returned himself. The Lord's table, the communion. The holiest ordinance on the Christian agenda, the Holy Communion, where we commemorate our oneness with Jesus Christ. We are reminded of our oneness with each other. We're reminded of the sacrificial, substitutionary death of the Savior. And he institutes the Lord's table, and he says, take this bread and eat it. This is my body that is broken for you. In like manner, he gives them the cup and says, take and drink from it. This is the cup that contains the blood of the New Testament. Drink it, all of you. So in the midst of all of this, the Lord establishes the most intimate ordinance that the church would observe in the wakening hours prior to his crucifixion. The last point that I would make is found in verse 24. And there was also strife among them. Which of them should be accounted the greatest? Don't be surprised if you give yourself to people that are dependent upon you, whether it's your children, whether it's your co-workers or the people that work for you. You give yourself sacrificial in service, and they still don't get it. They still don't get it. For 3.5 years, he had been the quintessential servant. He had served the blind, he had served the maimed, he had served the halt, he had served the hungry, he had served the prisoners, he had served the prostitutes. For 3.5 years, he had been the perfect example of service. But they still hadn't gotten it. They arguing over who's going to be the greatest. And they're arguing over who's going to be the greatest over a sinking ship. The ship that they was arguing over was getting ready to sink. This thing wasn't going nowhere. This movement was getting ready to go to Calvary. It was going down. They thought that this ship was going to the big house and he was going to establish his kingdom. No, this ship was getting ready to go down. And they had no idea of it. But they're arguing and they're fussing and they're jockeying for position and they're maneuvering because they think that they're going to get something out of this. And so the Lord pauses for a moment and he teaches them another lesson. He says, now in the Gentile world, in the unsaved world, everybody want to be the boss. Everybody want to lord over everything. Everybody want to control everything. This is the Roman Empire that he's talking about. And there are more slaves in the Roman Empire than there were free people. That's the Gentile world. But that's not the type of kingdom that I'm trying to establish. Verse 26, but it shall not be so among you. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as your younger, and he that is chief as he that doth serve. Jesus says, I'm trying to institute a new economy. If you want to be great in this movement, if you want to be great in this kingdom, then he says you got to take on the posture of a servant. My friend and my pastor, Franklin Murphy, told me something once I will never forget. He says, if you enter into the pastorate, if you want to lord over people, dominate people, dictate people, control people, they will fire you. I don't care how eloquent you are in your preaching. I don't care how you move them spiritually. People get tired of people lording over them. Eventually, they will get rid of you because we all get tired of our bosses. Now, how many of y'all get up in the morning praying for your boss? Now, be honest. You're in church. You ain't spending a whole bunch of time praying for your boss, except for God to change your boss's honorary way and give you except for Sister Elliott, she wouldn't pray that prayer. And she know what I'm talking about, but the rest of y'all pray that prayer. We get tired of our bosses. But we don't get tired of servants. You get a good servant, man. You get somebody that know how to cook your meal, somebody know how to clean your house, somebody to do service. We appreciate service. And that's why even the stingiest of us, if we go to a restaurant and they give us good service, we even break them off 15 or 20 cents. Because it's something about good service. People are treating you. You feel like you're valued. You feel like you're royal. You feel like a dignitary. Everybody like to be served. Come on, y'all. Everybody like to be served. And so when you go to a place and people treat